As was said before, I'm a blockchain developer here at the lab. I'm going to do a short and sweet presentation around our first production implementation around blockchain. And I'm going to be joined here by my colleague, Keen Gilbert. He's a business analyst here. He's just going to do a quick intro around what we actually do here in the lab, and then after that I'll jump on to the actual presentation.
I'll kick things off kind of fairly high level what the lab does. So my name again is Keen Gilbert. I'm a business analyst. So the lab is split in two, business and tech. So what we mainly offer to our clients is end-to-end delivery. So we like to think of ourselves as a one-stop shop for blockchain. We're mainly focused in the financial services area, but we're slowly moving away outside of FS, mainly because regulation is a tough beast to tackle in financial services. It's an industry that's over-regulated. So our goal is to move away from that into areas not under-regulated, but easier to enter. So like the supply chain is the main area that we're entering at the moment. These two gents here are the guys who lead the blockchain team. So just on the left there, it's David Dalton. He's head of financial services and our blockchain co-sponsor. And then on the right, some of you may have heard of Laurie Keogh. He's our blockchain lab lead, and he leads the blockchain lab for EMEA, so Europe, Middle East and Africa, and we're the centre of excellence for blockchain for that region. So what does the lab do? And we like to think we do a lot. Mainly, the big selling point of the lab is supporting the ecosystem. So a lot of work like this is something we enjoy doing and giving back, because we feel the only way for the ecosystem to grow is for us to give and support it. Eminence work is a massive part of, or a massive element of what we do. We find it's a good way to educate clients on what blockchain is, and more importantly, what blockchain isn't. You would be surprised when the clients come in, head of strategy, head of digital for large banks, and still think Bitcoin, blockchain is the same thing. I won't name banks for legal reasons, but that's a battle we're still at. I know the use case Guilherme is going to talk about later on. A lot of you from a tech perspective might think that is not the best use case for blockchain, but it's a way for the ecosystem and the banks and our clients to get a taste for the technology, to dip their toe in the water, let's say, and build up to that live production. Education, again, stuff like this is what we enjoy doing, educating clients in the blockchain ecosystem. Again, it's not just Bitcoin. Our capabilities, so again, it kind of goes back to the lab split in two, business and technical. So we're a core team of 25 at the moment, but our goal is to reach 50 come the end of the year, so we are hiring. Please feel free to talk to myself on the business side, or Guilherme. We're happy to provide more information on that front. And then solutions, so Guilherme's going to talk about our first live blockchain solution later on, which is DNV GL. They're a certification company. I think at the moment on a global scale we have over 50 POCs, which is fantastic. Compared to our competitors, we won't badmouth them on live TV, but we like to think we're miles ahead. Pilots, again, platforms, we're platform agnostic, so we don't just build on Ethereum, we build on Hyperledger, Corda. Again, Guilherme can speak a lot more to that because I'm just business. So the lab as a whole, so we've 5 spokes. Here is basically the hub for EMEA, Europe, Middle East and Africa. We have one in Singapore, we have one in New York. I think we've one opening in Malaysia, no, Hong Kong. Again, 3 hub labs, like I mentioned, ecosystem partners, so there's 12 head guys who basically set the direction for blockchain on the global level, and then 15 active POCs for the lab alone. And then at global level, outside of the blockchain for Deloitte, we're obviously a consulting firm, audit, tax, nothing as glamorous and exciting as blockchain, but it pays the bills. We're in 150 different countries, and then again, a global headcount of 260 consultants, blockchainers, auditors. And then I think I'll pass on to Guilherme. I won't take up too much of his valuable time.
Thank you, Dean. We developed this work a couple months back. It was our first production implementation of blockchain with Deloitte. It was a major milestone because, as Keen mentioned, clients come in, they like to know about the technology, they like to test it out, but when it comes time to actually move into their live systems, it's hard to do it. But DNV GL decided to do it. Just a bit of background, so DNV GL, they're a certification company, they issue certificates for a variety of stuff. And they came down and they were interested in exploring the technology. With that said, we did our normal approach. We have this work approach of 16 weeks, is it? With the clients, we do workshops, we do design thinking sessions, and then we move into development and deployment. The interesting thing about this is that the first meeting we had with the DNV GL, we were handed this book from them. And I thought it was quite interesting to have it here because the book is named Building Trust, which is the whole idea behind blockchain. And I'm not lying about this, the book is actually there in the back if you want to check it after. And yeah, so this was our first blockchain implementation going live into production. As expected, this is supposed to be a technical presentation, but this is a Deloitte product, and there are some parts of it that I might not be able to comment on. I'll try to do my best to tell you as much as possible. Let's put it that way. I have just a short video. I thought it would be interesting for you to get an idea of what the project is. Okay, so moving forward, so as you might have guessed from the video, basically what the DNV GL is doing is they're throwing their certifications into the blockchain. That's the high-level approach to it. So we work with them. We try to work out on this specific use case around the term is business assurance. And the idea was so that the DNV GL could upload the certificates into the blockchain and provide an extra layer of trust and security over that certificate, because these are very expensive things. There's counterfeiting as well around this space, and this seemed to be like a perfect fit. There's three types of users on the system there. Of course, there's the DNV GL admin sort of user, the customers of the DNV GL that actually purchase the certificates, and then there's the customers of the customers that need to verify if they want the quality of that certificate itself. And then the benefits, I guess pretty much everybody's heard this before, but so you have the immutability where you know for sure that the data that's there, it's correct, assuming that the DNV GL actually was the one uploading it, which is because we built the system and it's reliable to that extent, hopefully. There's visibility, so there's the traceability around the data on the blockchain. I guess you're all familiar with that. The interesting thing about doing a blockchain project is that we need to integrate this with legacy systems and previous systems that they still have, which sometimes can be hard. But given the simplicity of this use case, we managed to go around that pretty well. And then scalability. The first batch of certificates that we had to upload to the system was around 100,000, I think, which this is one-off sort of upload, so it wasn't a big issue in terms of time to take. But in a day-to-day basis, we don't have problems with scalability related to the system. And then, so we delivered on that the base functionality, which is uploading the certificates into the blockchain. There's a user interface where people can check the certificates, and then there's an extra sort of a high-level reporting tool around number of certificates, from where they are to which companies they're issued to, and so on and so on. So yeah, so they came to us and we gave them what they wanted. We developed a blockchain platform that saves and validates the certificates that they're issued by them, and which allows the users to check their status as well. As with any other blockchain implementation, we have the traceability of those specific certificates, changes that were made, who made them, and when. And then this last point around the reporting capabilities. Just on that last point there, this is a high-level overview of the architecture used for this specific project. As expected, there's a lot of information that does not go onto the blockchain. I imagine that any blockchain developer here already has come to understand this, given to the scalability issues and also data protection and security. You cannot just throw everything onto the blockchain. So we have a database supporting the whole system, internal APIs, external APIs, blah, blah, blah. That's your day-to-day things. And then there's a front end. I'll show some pictures around that. Technically speaking, as I said, we can throw all the information onto the blockchain itself. So there's a number of data points that are actually sent to it, but also what we do is we hash all the information related to the specific certificates, and that hash goes onto the blockchain, and that's what's used to match and try to verify that the certificate is actually the one that the client paid for and its status and so on. A couple of images. So this is the default landing page for the certificates. Reporting, more reporting, and this is the last point. I think it was a very interesting thing. We managed to very well integrate this into DNV GL's day-to-day work. So it's not like if the consumer had a lot of problems using this new platform, it actually facilitated their lives. Because right now, whenever the DNV GL issues the certificates, they'll get a QR code on their documents. What that QR code does, and it's not the case for this one, it sends the user onto the certification page from the DNV GL with their certificates, with the information about the certificate, and it's a way for them to validate that whatever is given to them by the DNV GL is actually true, and to also check the status on that. As you can imagine, this is a very simple use case. As Kean mentioned before, it's really hard to move forward with high-profile, big projects into production, so this was actually a good thing. And although it's a simple use case, it's extremely valuable for the DNV GL itself. It brings value to them and to the customer, and it facilitates the whole verification process of the certificates. One technical point about this is this was implemented on a private blockchain. There are reasons for that, but there are discussions going around about doing a second phase of this project, and with that expanding the system to other certification companies or third-party providers. And with that as well, maybe moving into a public implementation. And that would be seamless because the whole system was developed and could be easily deployed onto the public Ethereum blockchain. And as I said, short and sweet, thank you very much, and questions.